they're saying OpenAI's new OpenAI's new ChatGPT version 5 is going to cost $1 billion to train. So $1 billion in compute function and $1 billion in personnel to clean up the data that they're going to put in it. And what they are trying to do is go to YouTube, which is not print and text oriented. It's information, but it's oral hearing, A-U-R-A-L, oral. And so they have to translate the speech into text. So it's a big, big controversy, them using that information. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to present. That's on desktop 2 is shared, and I'm going to start the presentation. And you should see experiments in artificial intelligence sessions 3. I tried to keep this part very short this time around. But what I wanted to do, this is kind of one of my fun activities that I've purchased these video production capabilities, but listen to this. The sound in this is the more important one. A friend of mine gave me the drone footage, showed me how drones work. But listen to the background music, if you want to call it that, is AI generated. I had a friend of mine spoke about some audio. I think the audio we created last time in the stable audio AI. Stable audio. Remember, I created a little rhythm, and he called it soulless. Soulless, and there's just something about these AIs that I find not soulless. They do have some rhythm to them. You know, I tap my toe. But here we go. Let's start off with some interesting perspectives. Assuming a student in a classroom, high school kid, college kid, he meets the robot in the back alley, and he picks up his term paper, and the AI tells him, no one will suspect. I threw in some typos and bad formatting. Right. Just a little joke that I like to pick up. I hope you saw the AI generated text. Dan Altman used Fathom to record the last meeting that we had. And it was quite lengthy. And I used, I think it was ChatGPT to create a summary. And what I realized for the first time from that is, geez, these guys that in college and gals that are in college, they can sit there with a smartphone, record the entire session, the class session, and then when they get home, they can change it, transcribe the audio into text, and then summarize the text. So prior to the next meeting of their class, they can review what was presented last time and look smart by asking questions again to the professor. So that has a potential to change college attendance remarkably in my recollection. But please remember one of our acronyms, LLM, large language models, that there's a front end to these things that is intelligence that's called natural language processing, NLP, natural language processing, and that the natural language processing function interacts with the intelligence in the background. Now, we're going to look at 2 or 3 different elements today. We're going to look at Claude. We're going to look at Perplexity, and we're going to look at Meta as the models, the large language models that operate in the background. Now, remember, we've had numerous examples of being able to talk to an AI and have it come back. Now, we tried to emphasize that the speech that a user does is just
okay. Well, it's
we got
to try and get a walk in before it gets started to rain.
Dawn,
we need.
could you put yourself on mute?
Sorry.
Look at this.
That the person interacts with speech, it translates it into text, then it does the interaction with the AI, and then it generates a response and speech comes back to the person. There is the underlying text component. That's where it's all done. Or you can type it in. And we've looked at a number of models. We've looked at Pi, we've looked at Chat GPT, we've looked at that's text. These are changing. We've looked at Dream Studio. The DALL-E function is now behind the paywall, $20 a month from OpenAI. But Adobe Firefly, we looked at last week, that you could generate images and copy them to PowerPoint slides. Much of the graphics that I use in these presentations is from that. And then we looked at stable audio last week. One of the things that I've done is ask the different AIs, this happens to be Claude, what can AIs not do well? The cognitions and behaviors that AI might not do well. And Claude gave me back this information. Emotional intelligence, it's not very good at emotional intelligence, although the article I sent out from The Economist talked about how AIs are now being used to assess the mental state of patients in psychological environments. Creativity, I understand what they're saying. I'm not a very good graphic artist, so I have dreams of what something should look like. I have mental models, but I cannot put things ink to paper. So this is very good for me. I'm very creative. Contextual understanding, that's dramatically improving since I first put this together. This was put together at the beginning of the year, January or February. It has no ethics or morals. What we're finding now that the generators, the people behind, the engineers behind, the information engineers behind these activities are trying to lock over the AIs, the ethics and morals. It is not very adaptable, the AIs, and the physical world reasoning. So the ability to operate in space. You walk into a party or a meeting, and you can immediately interact with individuals in space. AIs can't necessarily do that well. Now, OpenAI, I gave the same questions. What cognitions and behaviors AI might not do well? OpenAI said, understand context. I think it's improving, but you'll find as you use these, and hopefully we use them today, they don't always understand the context of meaning. So words sometimes have two meanings. I don't know what musician said that, but AIs can't understand necessarily double entendre. So AIs don't have emotional intelligence. They don't have any creativity, and they don't generalize very well. And I put into the vocabulary effortless application of knowledge from one domain to another. So you learn something in school, can you go home and apply that to your interaction with your brother and sister, or to your discussion with friends on the baseball field or the soccer field? Generalizing knowledge. And then in April, Jimmy, that's me, Jimmy.08 says AIs cannot do humor well. They cannot do poetry well. And you're learning about these things, try to get an AI to generate poetry. It's kind of childish. It does, now this is, AIs do not generate or cannot participate in serendipity. The instance of you're being with someone who you kind of know, and there's just a moment where you connect together and the serendipitous events occur. AIs cannot participate in a sense of presence of physical environment with others present. So the AIs we're going to deal with don't understand there's 40 people in this conference here, this seminar. And it has I've tried to interact with when I was learning AI to see if it understands the sense of duration. We humans have a sense of time. My back ache and my knees hurt. I understand duration because I've been around for 70. How old am I, Maureen? 73 years now.
I don't know.
Thank you. I'm timeless, as she says. So AIs don't have a sense of time or a sense of duration. The presence in space-time, which I think is the fourth dimension, isn't it? If you're a Star Trek person. What's going to happen in the work world? What's going to happen to, we're all retirement age, I think, being in OLLI. We don't have to deal with the consequences of what's happening in work. We don't necessarily go to the office from 8 to 5, no traffic on the Beltway. But most of the AI companies are directing their developments to these younger people. And The Economist did an analysis. This again is a little bit earlier, that 25% on average of work, not jobs, but the work that people do, will be affected by AI in some manner, shape, or form. So if you're a knowledge worker, you're writing emails, a lot of that's going to be affected by generating AI stuff. And on the left side here, you can see the different jobs that people might have. And this is the share of that job that is exposed to automation by AI. It's a little complex, but office and administrative support is going to be significantly impacted by AI. If you're a office administration person, you want somebody that knows how to use AI. If you are an installation and repair guy coming out when my heater breaks down, maybe not so much. Computer and mathematical, we're going to hopefully see in Claude how these AIs can generate computer code. The website that I'm using, the talkswithcrows.com, I've used a fair amount of AI generated background code to make things work on the web page. Sales, we're going to look at that today. Management, we're going to look at that today. Business functions, architecture and engineering, legal. Imagine 100 or 1,000 lawyer law firm. They can submit all of their legal work in a AI and then let the partners have access to generate new legal cases. It's not accessible to you and me, but within the law firm, in a closed garden law firm, they can generate their own AIs from their historical data that will benefit their future creation. I hope I explained that well. Again, a little bit more in jobs. The McKinsey in 2023 came up with 4 or 3 groupings. Those jobs that are hit by AI and are declining. Have you been to McDonald's lately? Look at do you see the menu systems when you walk in? What's happening to the counter people? All they're doing is putting stuff in front of you. They're not taking your orders and punching it in. You're punching it in them yourself. Cashiers and retail salesperson. Oh my goodness, I haven't been in Macy's in a long time. I don't know what's going on there. Clerks. Look what's happening. Low wage jobs are going to be affected. Labor production helpers, machinists, the what do they call it? Numeric control system. NC, the lathes that put parts together that's all AI generated designs, and boom. Here are resilient and growing. So these will require AI, and the job market is increasing for these folks. Nurses, childcare workers, sales representative, project management specialists. We're going to look at this today. Computer systems analysts, truck drivers. Oh my God, Tesla is they say long haul driving. So if you're manufactured something in the Bay Area and you're taking it to Washington, D.C., that long haul drive across the country can be done by AIs. Now, once it gets to Washington, you need a person to get it the last mile. But the long haul drive on I-80, I-70, I-90, those cross-country interstates, those can be navigated by AIs. The Waymos and the Teslas and I can't remember the other ones that are out there. And these are the jobs that not much is happening with them. Tutors, preschool teachers, the physical labor items, rehabilitation counselors, coaches and scouts, repair, computer and automated teller repair systems. They will continue to have jobs, but it's not expanding. Those jobs aren't expanding. So this was kind of a perspective of what's going to happen to work. And I like this when I put together a bubble chart like this before I left the work and presented it to the Deputy Secretary of Education. And he thought it was bingo. He liked it. But these are the different jobs. The size of the bubble is the amount of population affected by it. And it is a measure of when the effect is going to occur. So the gray bubble, it's occurring now. For health aides, if you're working in a hospital, if you are a doctor, you are facing the use of AI right now. I have an acquaintance, a friend who is a physician. They just made it available for them to write their after action. They just had a meeting, and what do they call that? Charting that is done by AI. So the gray ones are current. The light blue ones that are going to happen in the period 2025 to 2035, business and legal profession, look how much it's going to occur. Change in demand is the upper and lower. And then the darker color, the change, the automation from AI is going to occur in 2035 to 2045, 2040, office support, food service, where they're talking about automation doing the actual cooking. The coffee you get at Starbucks, the machine that makes your coffee, boom, that's AI generated. Production workers, Amazon warehouse. Some of the most current Amazon work warehouses are all automated. The performance evaluations of the humans in those warehouses is done by AI. I find that a little disturbing, but it's happening. The work, well, luckily, we don't face it, but it is happening. So, is there any questions that people might have about that? I'm going to, let's see, I just stopped the presentation there. And I'm going to, I got to do a little bit here. There we are. And then what I want to try to do is to put a few items in the chat window. I sent these out, but I wanted to test this. Let's see if I can do that again. I'm going to put these, can I put I think I'm sending 3 prompt items that are business oriented. This is not finalized. I apologize for the rough state that they're. And then I'm going to try to send in that. Excuse me. I'm going to put in the chat window. You should be good. I'm going to put in some information of images that I want to see if the AIs can tell me what the images are. What can Claude tell me? So I'm gonna bring up. Let's look at Claude. I'm going to bring up the desktop too, and I'm going to bring up the Claude presentation. I want to go through this very quickly, if I can. They're saying the Claude 3 is the version. I think they just released 3.5. And what we're going to see is they want to get money now. We'll run into it, I'm sure. Now, remember, all of the AIs require a login. They want to know your customer. I have emphasized trying to use Google because it makes the login procedure quite quick. Claude was primarily on a web browser, but they have released a number of apps that go on smartphones and tablets. Know your customer. Here's me logging in with Google, my Google AIs, my Google IDs. You are warned that AIs make mistakes. Check your work. Don't come at me if you make a big mistake. And I can tell you, if you're not careful, from personal experience, if you're not careful, you'll make a mistake. I've embarrassed myself. And then here's what the window looks like. And we'll see this in just a second. This is what Claude looks like. There's the prompt window. Here's, you can submit an attachment and then ask it questions. You can give it an item to review. It will review it, and then you can ask it questions. It remembers the context of the question. This was a significant development. Here's Claude. Can you tell me about Ashland? Here's what it provides. This is the response it gave. Here's what you can do. User prompt. You can start a new chat. You can put in a file up to, I think they've increased that to 10 megabits. And then you can ask a question. The young people recognize this stuff pronto. Me, it takes a little while of reading this. Oh, that's what that means. The paperclip means, oh, I can submit an application or a file, a PDF, a text file, a comma separated value, which is an Excel file. And this is a big list of the screen. I happen to be using the browser Edge, which is from Microsoft. And in Edge, you've got this little window of all the Microsoft stuff that you get for free. That is our last session. We're going to cover Edge. But what I want to have people notice, if you can see the pointer, is right down here at the bottom. See where it says copy? I can either retry or copy the result. I can copy the results from this to another, like Google Docs or Microsoft Word, to edit it or format it so it looks nice. And that this is, again, help me understand the laws of Oregon regarding public information request. Boom, here's the laws. It just went, it knows this stuff. The problem is it can be dated. Here I copied it into Microsoft Word running within the Edge browser. Now that's a little complex, but this is Microsoft Word, not the full version, but you can see all the information here. I copied it in. Now I can lay it out, save it, edit it. Here is an example of me uploading a Acrobat file, a PostScript description file, is what I think the word is. PDF, I forget what the other PostScript description file. And this one happens to be about the Union Pacific Railroad that is right next to us. The railroad district, I don't know if you saw in next door, there was a meeting of the Planning Commission, and the state of Oregon has approved the 13 acres of the railroad district, the old railroad yard, to be high density housing. That's what, and I hope they give money for it. I think if they're only gonna say you can use it for that, that's different than giving them $25 million to do it. But we'll see this. We'll see this next week. Here's me putting the information in. Here's a review of it, again, within Claude. And then here's me copying it to Google Docs. This is Google Docs. All of these campaigns use Google Office, Google Docs, Google Meet instead of Zoom, or instead of FaceTime, they're using Google Meet. And they pay $15 per user in a campaign like governor of Pennsylvania. The campaign will use, everybody will use Google Docs. And so this is what it ends up looking like. Oh my goodness, thank you. We're finished with that. Let's see if I can bring that up, Google Docs. Here we go. This, notice, this is in Google Docs. You're seeing that, yes?
Enlarge your screen.
It's full size.
Oh, I see.
Let's see if I can, is that better?
Yes.
I'm going to, was my practice, so I didn't make too big of a mistake. This was an image. I'm going to put an image in. This is of a Stanford high-level computer class. And here's another one. Oh, this is from what I just distributed earlier. I asked Claude to please design a risk management plan for someone running for city council, a city council candidacy, identifying the potential risks, assessing their impact, notice I misspelled that, and probability of those impacts, and suggesting mitigation strategies. Please present this in bullet points with text descriptions beneath each. So here's again a political campaign. Oh my God, we're right in the middle of it. So this is what a campaign manager would submit to Claude and say, what are the potential risks of being a candidate? Boom, boom. Here are the political risks, the financial risks, the operational risks, the personal risk. And look what the impact of the political risks. The impact, the probability of an operational risk is medium. Thorough planning contingency measures can help address these risks. What is the personal risk? High impact. Personal emergencies or scandals can have impact upon the candidate's viability and campaign's overall success. Oh my goodness, man, I should run for office. Here we are in mitigation. How can you mitigate the financial risk? Establish a robust funding plan, including online and offline channels to secure the necessary campaign financing. Implement strict financial controls and budgeting processes to ensure efficient resource allocation. My goodness, man. Notice down here at the bottom, I'm going to try to take one of these. Let's do a couple things. Let's try pricing strategy. Or a business. This is business. Let's do pricing strategy. I'm going to type this in and make a fool of myself. So here's pricing strategy. Develop, DEV, excuse me if I go so slow, develop price, pricing strategy, strategy, my neuropathy, for what's my product, my bookstore opening. I made that up considering factors such as cost, structure, competitor pricing, and perceived value, proposed DIFFERENT pricing, TIERS, and potential upsell opportunities. So again, let's just boom. Did it kick? Did it? Let's try it once more. Is it kicking me out? I think it's kicking me out. It's saying we got a flaw there. Oh, and I got a couple, let's see here. No, that's not right. Where am I? Develop a pricing strategy for my bookstore. There, we got a problem. I'll try to, let's say hello. I bet you H-E-L-L-O. Oh, there's a problem. But let's try something. Let's attach. I've got this file here. The state of I'm changing because of the flaw in live. I'm uploading a PDF from the state of Oregon. Let's see if it recognizes it. It uploads it. Political action committees. Let's see if it, please summarize this document, please. No, not working. I'm going to, boom, exit that. I'm going to go to a new window. I'm sorry, Claude.AI. Let me put this in, Control V. See if it Claude's. Oh, there we go. That was the problem. I apologize. Look at the way it's laying out the screen. I'm assuming you're seeing that. Wow. It's created a separate document for me. This is a new capability that Claude has come up with. I wonder if this will go directly into Microsoft Word, or it'll go directly into Google Docs. So the question, again, I apologize for the failures. I start doing too much and I screw up but look at the prompt was, develop a pricing strategy for my bookstore opening, considering factors such as cost structure, competitor pricing, perceived value, propose different pricing tiers, and potential upsell. So here's the response that I think I could go to a bank, just change this around and go to a bank loan officer and say, hey, give me $250,000 for my bookstore. Fixed cost, pricing structure, variable cost, marketing-based pricing framework, list price to 10% markups, price-sensitive readers, products, mass market, fiction, used book, clearance items, premium tier. Oh my goodness, competitive. This is okay. Let's publish this. I've never done this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to download it. What did it? Let's see what it opens as. Oh my goodness, I can't. What open? Click to open document. I guess it opened this one here. But there we go. This is new. I've not played with this too much. But let's just copy it to. I copied it. Let's go to Google Docs. Open a blank document and see if I can make a fool of myself by putting all that information in there. So then I can, how many pages? 3 or 4 pages. I can rewrite this. I could have it generate more text. Imagine you're a business person on this. So that's item 1. This is me using this prompt engineering to put in Claude. Now I'm going to try putting in this state of Oregon. Please summarize. I just put the PDF in there. Please summarize for me. Did it work? Notice that it's putting it in the document window on the right side of the screen. Notice as well, again, this year's Nobel Prize to Jeffrey Hinton, the back propagation. I can feed back to the model, to Claude's model. Was this a good response? By the thumbs up. Or I could say, no, I don't like that. Or I could retry it. Let's just hit it again. Oh my goodness. This is taking off. Oh, let's go back here and look at enforcement. Secretary of State investigates violation of election laws, 2-year investigation window. Ooh. Circuit court can issue injunctions, civil penalties for violation. See, Claude summarized, it's like a 10-page thing from the Secretary of State. So rather than me having to read this, taking a number of hours to be familiarized with it, all I have to do is read the summary. So we've summarized a large document. Now let's try my favorite. Now let's have a picture. Share. Let's cancel. I'm gonna take a picture. Let's see if I can get my favorite picture. I think it's this one. I have a picture. It's a JPEG picture that I put in there. Let's see if I can bring it up. See if I'll bring it over here. Is it gonna go? I don't think it's gonna go. No, it's not gonna go. It's like that Norman document. Nope. But it said, here's the picture, and I'm gonna say describe this picture, please. There you can see the picture that I put in there from the Middle Ages. So the AI has the ability to examine. I'm going to close this side here so we reduce confusion. It has the capability to look at this picture in its method of looking, which is to look at the individual pixels, at the little picture element, and then describe what it sees. The knights are wearing period-appropriate armor and are mounted on horses. Let's take another one. Let's see if I can get my favorite one. If this is my favorite one. This is my favorite one. Oh, man. See, this is what the picture looks like that I submitted to Claude. Notice, I think this is Latin. So this would be like from an Oxford University library. And it says, the image appears to be a medieval manuscript page depicting a work entitled Geometrica Speculativa, or speculative geometry. It at the top, it has Latin central image. Even though that it's a very fuzzy image, it can tell it The overall style of the illustration is typical of manuscript illumination with its ornate borders, decorative elements, and symbolic iconography. Let me ask it again. Oh man, I apologize. Neuropathy. Can you read the Latin and translate it for me? So it remembers, I think, context. So that fuzzy information, here's the Latin part of it up here. Then it translates it. Together with a certain treatise on the quadrature of the circle. Okay. So if I'm a medieval scholar at the university, rather than spending an afternoon trying to understand it, I can submit it to a high level AI. This is just consumer grade AI that can read this. Boom. Claude.AI. Does anybody have information about Claude.AI? Oh, I'm stuff's happening on my computer here, and
It's time for a break too.
Oh yeah, let's go on a break. It is. Let's take a 5-minute break. Hey Siri, set a timer for 5 minutes, please.
5 minutes, counting down.
So let's take a 5-minute break. I apologize for getting too hyped up. We got the other ones are going to be a little bit easier, but in 5 minutes we'll start up again. Okay, and look in the chat window. I'm looking in the chat window. I put all of the stuff in the chat window. You can see the graphics and the prompt that I'm using is in the chat window. Please let me know if you don't see it in the chat window. Hey, Google, turn on the sync lights. Hey, Google. Hey, Siri, play Suburbs of Goa on TuneIn Radio. Yeah, I was doing that. Oh, that's how I did it. Yes, I'm sorry. Hey Siri, stop. So I'm being told that 5 minutes is up. What I was just experimenting with is showing a Android tablet from Google, the Pixel tablet. And what I was showing was, this is what we're going to look at next. Perplexity is the name of the application. And notice the different items on this screen. Top left, I don't think I can project on this screen. I apologize. You can project the upper left as me as a person. Who is my ID? Settings, my account name. I can share information in it. Down, I don't, the items at the bottom, I don't know what they all mean. I don't want to make a fool of myself. I think on the ask anything, the prompt entry box down towards the bottom, on the right side, that's probably meant to be speech. But this is Perplexity. This is a speculative app released on Android. Again, Android being the majority of phones in the world are Android. And Perplexity is speculated to be a replacement for Google. So I'm going to ask it, tell me about Ashland, Oregon. Tell me about Ashland. O-R-E, Oregon. So in effect, it's gone out and retrieved that information. I can regenerate. Notice down at the bottom part of the screen, just above the word related, I can share the information. I can regenerate a response. I can regenerate in computerese. I can regenerate the inference that Perplexity gave me, the answer it gave me, or I can copy it. Notice the little symbols there. Let's see if it will read it. You may not get the sound. No, you got to pay for. Look at the way they want $20 a month. No, not going to do it. So it looks like the speech capability is only. And notice, also very important. I apologize for not being able to point on this screen, but at the end of a couple of the sentences, it has superscript, footnotes. One, the city boasts a vibrant art scene, outdoor recreation opportunity, and scenic beauty, but faces challenges like high living costs and seasonal air quality issues due to wildfire. That's not true. Where did it get that? Notice it says 1, 2, and 3. That's where it got the information. So let's look at the number 2. Here's the response. Are we going to get it? Here's the response. This is where it got the information that it was using. This is the information that it chose. Again, here's the response from Perplexity. What I want to emphasize, somebody brought this up the first session. How do we know this is not junk? This is not social media, ideology advocacy. They do try to provide the source of the information. Again, about Ashland, its unique characters marked by a politically liberal community that often contrasts with the surrounding area. My God, that's sophisticated information for an AI to be pulling that up. Let's look at number 1. Oregon Encyclopedia. The Oregon History Society. Here, Jeff Lalonde. I know Jeff Lalonde, who wrote this. Do I believe? Yes, I believe. Here's all of the information that he provided. So there's this information. Again, this is where it got the information. Jeff was a historian for the Fish and Wildlife Service, I believe. So I'm going to close this. Now we're back. Let's see if can I put in a picture. Can I the speech? What is happening in Portland these days? This is what's happening. Oh my goodness. This is the information as it's just, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, here's pictures from Portland. This is the app. Let's see if I'm going to close that and I see if I can stop the mirroring and then bring it back to me. Any question? Oh, that's the app, but I also want to show my screen, show desktop 2. This is what Perplexity looks like within a browser.
5-letter words that start with CI.
Find, let's try that. Somebody just put find, please. A 5-letter word that begins with CI. Civic. Let's have it do another one. Well, let's see, can I? Related to nature. Cider, Scylla, civic, civet is a finch. Related to weather. Related to clouds. I mean, Siri, as in serious cloud.
How might that
Atmospheric,
be useful in the real world?
somebody that does crossword puzzles or what, cross sticks or things like that. Let's do another one from looking again at, this is the one that the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post are suing because they regularly download the information from those newspaper websites and integrate it into its database, increases the corpus that it's trained on so that its inferences are current. That's what it's going for, is current information versus dated information. But let's try an MVP roadmap. Let's see if I can bring that up. Let's try compose, no, strategic, develop a strategic SWOT analysis. I'm going to cut and paste it, see if I can do that. Oh, let's see, I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to make that go away. And then I'm going to bring the browser back up, and I'm going to put that in. Oh, darn it. That didn't work. That didn't work. I'm sorry. Did I copy redact bold? It's not going to let me copy it. Copy. Now let's go back to this window and see if it remembered it. No, that's Control V. No, it's not doing it. I'll type it in. I'm having, doing things live is not the best way to do things, but let's try it. Quit and join in another one. Perplexity.AI. Let's design, please design DESIGN a SWOT SWOT analysis for my bookstore. Provide detailed points for each category, and suggest potential strategies based on the analysis. Let's see if I can screw this up. SWOT is strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Is one of the things that we start a new project and the big cheese would come in and say, what's the SWOT analysis you guys have done? So I think this is done regularly, a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, threat. So here's the strength of my bookstore, local focus. What's the weakness? Limited space, I can only pay so much. Inventory management, oh my God, I got to hire somebody. Limited seating opportunity, what's the opportunity? Subscription, local partnerships, online sale. What's the threat? Changing reading habits, chain bookstore, rising operational costs. The rents in Ashland downtown are through the roof. What are strategies? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I solved all my problems. So using Perplexity for business strategies, and then I'm just going to ask it, who is suing Perplexity for copyright issues? Let's see if it responds about itself. Oh my goodness, so look how current its data is right here. October 21st. What is today? Today's the, so this is, here's, my goodness, look at the response here. So instead of me having to go to Google, looking up the actual case, here is Perplexity detailing everything. Oh my goodness. Let's now, I've changed. I am now using Meta, which is Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Notice I've put this one item in there and it recognized it. Let me put in another one. This one is pretty detailed. It's a mathematical formula and it's chugging away. It went through that. Here's the the middle ages manuscript. Let's see what this says it is. Let's see if it can recognize. Can you read the Latin at the top, and translate into Japanese? Let's see if it will translate it into Japanese. How about English? Can you put it into English. So look at the problem. It's not translating the information too terribly much. So that's a problem. But let's go back to my favorite. Please, let's generate, please create graphic image of VRONOITESOLation on black on a gray background. Let's see if it'll do this. So there we go. This is how it creates pictures. So it knew, rather than looking at the picture, it was asking I was asking it to generate an image. This is Voronoi tessellations. It's very important in construction. I could use this as a graphic on the front of my bookstore. I could save this, download it, go back. Let's see if I can animate it. Let's see if it'll turn into a motion graphic. I think this is pretty unremarkable what it does. So you can do that with it. Let's close. So now it read images, it creates images. Let's see if it can do a business plan. Design risk management. Risk management plan for vote collection box available to the public. Identify potential risks, assess their impact and probability, and suggest mitigation strategies. Oh my goodness, does a table. Oh my goodness, this is pretty cool. Notice the response mechanism, the back propagation. It's a good response. I'm a bad response. Copy to the clipboard. Look at these. Oh my goodness. So here's the potential risk: tampering and fraud, technical malfunction, physical damage, weather-related, human error. What's the high? Technical malfunction, tampering and impact is high. Probability, oh, look at it, came up with score. Mitigation strategies. risk management team, assign a primary risk owner for each identified task. Oh, goodness. And then if I want to go to, I can't see this, that's the problem. Oh, here's, I'm gonna, can I make a new image? Can I, there, oh, I'm sorry. Let's start a new Word document and I'm gonna paste that in. So this pasted quite well. It pasted the table in it. It pasted boldings, the bold format of the text. Did the bullet points in there. So this is a quite effective, and let's risk management, change the title and save it there. And then let's see if I can share it. Let's save it. Save it in my drive on these are my pics. I'm not going to be able to send it to you. Perplexity.AI, bingo. Okay, again, this was Meta.AI, and we've got just a few minutes left for me. This again, trying to show the different. Oh, let's see if I can send it. Share. Let's copy link. And let's see if I can put it in the chat box. Bingo. I've just generated that, and here we are, the virtual team. The virtual team hoping to keep the elections working smoothly. And I've just sent you the risk mitigation strategies that we've come up with. Bingo. The real life scenario that we've discussed here. Now, we've done far too much work here in 90 minutes. We've only had a 5-minute break, but let me take, if anybody has any questions, let's see if I can take the spotlight off. Here is everybody that I think they're used to. I can't figure out what it was where I could have us meeting in a potential classroom. Maybe Maureen can quickly find that. No, stop video, show virtual backgrounds. Let's have general virtual backgrounds, video, audio, share screen.
I just asked everyone to unmute so that people can talk.
Oh, okay. Well, I was trying to bring up the classroom environment. You could fake that it being a classroom, but any
Well, let's go to gallery.
questions, gallery, okay. Any question that people might have? We've done 3 AIs. I'm sorry if I didn't differentiate them well. But first off, we did Claude, which is from the company Anthropic AI, which is funded by Amazon, Microsoft. I think they're in the private market. So what's that? The Sandbar Road in Palo Alto, where the big money is. I forget the guy's name. Then we looked at the company that's being sued by the New York Times, which is Perplexity. This is a big threat to Google because they are cheating to get current information from the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, all of those, the Washington Post, and they're being sued. Perplexity, that is. Then we looked at Meta, which is Facebook, big money. Facebook, lots of human input that they can use to train their AI. Facebook, Instagram, Insta, you got to talk the latest lingo for young people is Insta. So that's where it's getting its corpus of material to train things about images, visual training. They have the data warehouses that they can turn over to the AIs for the training purposes. Meta does. So that's the three that we've looked at today. Any questions about those? Three, four.
They all have what do you call it? A place that you can just click on it and bring it up. Do they all have that?
An app that Meta does not. Meta does not have one that you can download on iPhone. Say, you have to use a browser, and you can go to Meta.AI in a browser like Safari or Chrome, and it will run within the browser quite effectively. Claude does. Claude has an app that you can download for both Android and for iPhone, and it has an what's the third one we looked at? Perplexity has an app that you can download and run directly from a device. Not on the computer, but on the mobile devices. I use Perplexity pretty regularly. Oh, and we didn't cover writing
Before you
code.
go on, Jim, can you just clarify that? Can you run all three of these programs on your computer?
Yes.
Okay.
In a browser.
In a browser. And two of them have apps as well. Is that correct?
That will run on mobile devices like an Android phone or an iPhone. Yes, that is
Does that
correct.
answer your question, Neil?
Yeah.
Thanks.
And I got Sol, is it?
Yes. This is kind of a silly question, but I'm wondering, why do you start your prompts so often with the word please? Does it help?
I think it does. That's a good question. That's a big question that's going around.
Yeah.
Good question.
Is the AIs are learning. They don't have the knowledge yet, but they're learning to assess the sentiment, the emotional state, the mental state of the person asking the question. So the way that you structure your query, the AI can use the language that you choose to assess your mental state, your emotional state. So I use please, and the AI thinks, the AI assumes that I'm a polite individual, that I'm a normal person, when really I'm just trying to trick the AI. into giving me the best response.
Okay.
That's all
I
I'm
was
doing.
wondering. So every so often I've told Siri, damn it, Siri, wake up, or something. And Siri will say back to me, be nice, or something like that. It's the same thing, isn't it?
Yes, the AIs are learning. They don't have it down pat. That's one of the points of this conference is you got to understand the AIs are learning now
Thank
to assess the mental state of individuals. Physicians are carrying AIs into exam rooms to gather the conversations they're having from the individuals to assess the state of the individual. You know, we know it intuitively as humans. When you walk into a room and your spouse has had a tough day, I don't know how it's done, but you just know your spouse is, you need to listen to what your spouse is saying and be very attuned to their point of their condition. It's just, how do humans do that? So what very smart people, VSPs, are doing is how is that done? How can I train the AI to assess that? And I don't know the answer to it. There's a guy down in Palo Alto and Mountain View making $1 million a year who can figure that out. Neuroscientists, visual scientists, psycholinguists. What's the phrase? The computational linguistics. So just the translating language into numbers, stringing all those numbers together, getting 10 million versions of language. You can then assess the tone from the words, the way that the words are strung together. Like the AI here, if we had this, could tell, hey, this guy's goofy. I hope he's keeping people's attention. So I hope I've explained that. It is not by any means a silly question. It's a very smart question. And you all, by your participation, are coming to grips with the AIs doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a quick question, a technical thing. Is there anything, like if I wanted to get a summary of a video, like a YouTube video, other than kind of extracting the sound and getting that converted into text and feeding that in? Is there anybody who would just...
Supposedly, and I'll research that this week, the tool from Google, it's called Notebook LM.
Okay.
Notebook.lm.com will allow you to, because it's from Google. Google owns YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
You can drag the video into Notebook LM. It takes a few seconds to chug away, and then you can query and get inferences from the Notebook LM is that's one of the big ones I'm looking at.
Yeah, that would be really useful because there's so many YouTubes people are sharing, and it's like I don't have time to watch them all. I'd love to get a summary of what's in there. So
I am offering a seminar in the winter on practical applications in AI. And that's one of the things that I hope to look at. This conference will have the video. I'm putting them up on talkswithpros.com so that people can review them. And I'm going to try to reacquaint myself with the process. How do I turn it into text? Summarize the text. Distribute the summary.
Yeah.
Boom. It will prompt people's memories,
Yeah.
if nothing else. I mean, we humans need a tool to prompt what's going, to bring the context in our heads to the what's the cortex in front called, where the
Prefrontal
imagery,
cortex.
the prefrontal cortex, where thinking basically occurs. You can bring it from the memory to the just from a summary of the meeting. I mean, the neural linguists are dealing with this stuff. That this is what, you know, this, it's not solved. I hope I brought that up at the very beginning. This issue is not solved by the big money yet. So it will be 5 years before it really solidifies into what is going on. You are the people that are going to determine what the future is by participating in this course. The seminar. I pat myself on the back.
That's
Pat
right.
yourself on the back, folks.
All
This
the AI
is
programs are watching you.
well, they are. What are they? If you live in China, you are on the internet. You have a social score in China. They look at your bank accounts, your spending, how your neighbors are reporting on you. In London, in the UK, you cannot go outside in London without being on a camera they have visual recognition. When you enter the country and walk through that customs and immigration service, they're taking a picture of your face. They're doing facial recognition algorithms on that. And then they're using AI to figure stuff out. How do you if there's an incident in Westminster, how do they get the information so fast? In the old days, how did Sherlock Holmes figure it out? Only by, I don't know. Now they've got Sherlock Holmes in the AI figure it out. He recognized the structure, the bone structure of the face that he saw in the mirror as the culprit escaped. Welcome to my world, guys. We're way over. Thank you for going through this. We'll have an evaluation after this. I got a feeling I'm working too hard, too much at once. But part of my orientation is you are using this stuff. I encourage you to use this after the fact. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao. Ciao, babe.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.